Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Kevin
I'm
Spacey
tired of not
was
being able to say Kevin Spacey
the
was
hot
good.
guy.
Kevin Spacey's the hot guy in that movie, okay? I'll say it.
Welcome to the Rewatchers from a Boombox. I'm Mitchell Marshall, a.k.a. Roasted Cactus. We watched Step Up 3 this week, and the rest of my crew today.
I'm Tyler McKinley, a.k.a. I can't think of anything besides something that's really dirty and it's not meant to be.
Well, he looks like you're stuck.
A.k.a. long and tired.
I'm Tyler Harris, a.k.a. Quick Step Quincy.
Justin Hammer, a.k.a. The Carpenter.
Oh, fuck.
There, wow, you
was
nailed
so
it.
Professional.
All right.
Do you moonwalk on water at any point?
No, but my special move is the nail gun.
Oh, I'm so excited for this. This is our final week of Guilty Pleasures. We saved the guiltiest member of the podcast for last.
I feel like it's not an exaggeration.
It's not. I had a list of like 15 movies I wanted you guys to watch that are guilty pleasures of mine. But if you did not watch Step Up 3, shame on you, you piece of shit. Tyler's going to give us a little summary real quick.
Step Up 3. Some people are squeezed, kicking and screaming out of a boombox's tape deck into this world, and they're good at dancing. Can't wait to watch this kid become a successful engineer and not a dancer. Turns out all it takes to derail this kid's successful future is a pair of shoes someone else is wearing. Dance battle time. He's real good, even if he is foiling that old man from Up's plans. Dancing Bruce Wayne helps him escape from the police. Then they drive around the city for like 6 hours before they go to Dancing Batcave. Jesus would let someone else show Moose around. I forgot what that was in reference to. Turns out Bruce Wayne is more like Dance Fagin, and he is all out of dance bucks, but at least his dance card is full. Fagin sees his prey on the security cameras and stalks her across the dance floor. Honestly, out of context, this just looks like an ad for a body spray. Moose learns in the bathroom that no one battles the samurai just once. Some guy who wants to buy the club from under Fagin. We'll settle this at the World Jam. Just kidding, real battle time. Fagin saves Natalie and offers her a place to stay. Man, the only way a girl from New York can seem cooler is if she lived in London for a couple of years. Moose's friend had to eat lunch with her lame roommate. Natalie found Fagin's wall of dance or birth canals. It's just jamming out. But a dance studio is no place to train. Time to hit the streets. Nerds are so mean, and dancers are such hilarious pranksters. The twins reveal the kick arsenal. Twitch is trying to solve a complex LED problem. Holy shit, Moose is an LED wizard? How can he possibly waste any of this talent on an engineering degree? This looks like capoeira, so battle dance time? Oh shit, is there more going on between Natalie and Fagin than just the pure love of dance? Moose and his best friend / just friend destroy everyone at charades. Fagin just gets it, man, but Natalie totally gets it more. Time to go to Red Hook, apparently. Probably going to try to figure out this rent situation. Nope. Dance battle time. Pittsburgh wins. Fagin is bashful in front of the camera and then tells the story of how his parents were killed in front of a dance battle arena when he was young. So it turns out Dance Fagin is more like Dance Bruce Wayne. He was only going to blackmail Natalie. Moose thinks he's late, but turns out Camille's late, and he doesn't get to be an Olsen twin now, but then he totally Mary-Kates himself back into Camille's good graces. Bruce shows Natalie the ultimate secret to his abilities, which come from standing on a sewer grate and wasting Slurpee. Then he steals the Act 3 kiss at the end of Act 1. Moose is going to have to choose between his real dad and his new dance dad, Fagin. This is Chinatown. You know what that means. Dance battle time. Oh, BMX time. Seriously, this kid is an infrastructure wizard. I pray to God he doesn't waste his skill on an engineering degree. This is one wet dance battle. Rock band time. Natalie needs to talk to Fagin alone, but he's pissed that someone released their trade secrets. If they can master literally just one move, there's no way they can lose. Julian used to be a pirate, but then he tried to Pete Rose the Pirates, and the Pirates kicked him out with no chance that he will ever be in the Pirates Hall of Fame. Holy shit, Natalie is a double agent, which means Natalie is more like Anne Hathaway and Get Smart. Then Julian gets all family, isn't it about time on Anne Hathaway, but she's like, Luke's my new daddy, but then leaves anyway. Fagin just finished his first movie making him more like the Martin Scorsese of dancing. The bank is selling their house. The bank guy is actually way more understanding than he needs to be. Martin needs to replace Agent 23, so he enlists the help of Ashley Olsen. Even though he is going to be late for his college party, they disguise themselves as dancers to get into what is clearly a very fancy orgy for the elite. Whoa, it was all a ploy to get Agent 23 back. Honestly, this is happening so quickly it barely felt like she was gone. Man, Martin could not have been luckier as far as covers go. Remind me why Mary-Kate is really sad. Agent 23 just wants to run away to the most exotic place she can think of, California. Julian tells Martin that Agent 23 is actually his sister. Ashley tells Mary-Kate he's actually a dancer and not an engineer. The dance cave has been foreclosed. Dance Martin tries to make the dancers realize they deserve better than this by giving them less than what they deserve. Everyone sits in places and looks at places they would rather be. Mary-Kate and Ashley are best friends again, making them more like Scarlet Witch and Vision. Vision engineers a cute situation so they can dance together. Dance date time. Dance Martin works at a diner now. So Mary-Kate goes undercover as a customer and gives an inspiring speech so Martin quits his job. Mary-Kate finds them a place to rehearse and a bunch of new dance members. Dance introduction time. Carlos is back and he's got a deal. All they have to do is throw the battle. No way, man. Time for World Jam. Agent 23 tells Dance Martin that she is taking a train to California. Looks like the pirates really came to swab the poop deck, but the samurais protect their honor, so the pirates hit them with their broadside cannons, and the samurai just start cutting them down. Now the pirates are robots, and the samurai become future robot hunting samurais, but this looks like the pirates have a stowaway. This movie really is all about family, so I guess that makes Dance Martin Scorsese more like Dance Dom, and I suddenly understand why Mitchell likes this movie so much. Holy shit, their clothes have lights on them, not available at Foot Locker, and apparently we're calling these kids the Pirate Shorties? Pirates win. Look at them. They are the samurai now. Looks like Dom is going to hang up his dancing jockstrap and trade it in for a filmmaker's codpiece. Oh shit, he could have just asked a double major this whole fucking time. Turns out Agent 23 forgot to say goodbye to anyone, but Martin is still nowhere to be seen. Everyone kisses each other, and Mary-Kate gets what he really wanted all along, those shoes he saw at the beginning. This movie melted my fucking brain.
It was actually based off of an app called Pirates vs. Samurai from the early 00s. So
Clash of the Pirates and Samurai. Yeah, man.
Thanks so much for indulging this movie with me, guys.
I will say when I started it and I saw that it was an hour and 53 minutes long, I was like, this is already 35 minutes too long. And then at an hour in, I was like, it might be 45 minutes too long. But no, I honestly enjoyed it more than I thought I would.
Like it was a 4 instead of a 3? A 4 instead of a 2?
Fair.
Okay.
That's fair.
Can I ask the question? Mitchell, for the love of God, why do you like this movie?
Well, one, I enjoy the dancing quite a bit. I hope you guys could enjoy some of like the actual competitive, like, whoa, these are freakishly talented, enjoyable things to watch. I'm always here for a cheesy romance. It was hard because they're trying to balance two romances. More fun.
That is very clear at the top of this movie. That it was like, it feels like it was co-written by two people who had very different protagonists in mind. You know what I mean? Anyway, sorry, I don't mean to interrupt.
No, it's good. I think that the plot doesn't matter all that much to me. Like, obviously, I want them to get to these ends. It has so many tropes of every movie you've ever seen, except your conflict happens to be over dance, and you have ridiculously bad villainish characters. You have the double crossing. You have the 3D gimmicks. The Asian champions, right before that battle, they literally say it all goes down in Chinatown. You have the kid who's trying to decide between art and science, blood versus friendship, family. You know, they sneak in using waiters' uniforms. Just like, what other cliche like element of advancement can we throw into this?
We have to talk about that scene because I have some major gripes with that scene. Because, like, anyways.
And then they said he had an invitation. Anyway, but I remember the movie being paced slightly better. You're right. Like, I think it would be a much better movie if it was 90 minutes exactly. And there were parts where I was like, oh yeah, this third drags, because the first two dance things actually happen pretty quickly. Is they do the one where there's all the dust. I kept calling him gym battles, so it's like the very beginning they're playing against like
the Earth gym leader,
yeah, and then they get the water badge, which the water one, that's my favorite dance sequence.
Which they dip back into a well from number 2.
Oh really?
Yes.
I don't remember that.
The whole ending of number 2 is in the rain and the water, and they like They just whip out that again.
The
Dancing in
wettest
water
dance I've
is
ever
dope.
seen,
But I like the cheese of it all. I like that their first kiss is over a grate where apparently their Slurpees are flying through the air so that we can see it in 3D.
And I feel like-
Icy, okay. Get that product placement
okay.
right.
Sorry.
Okay, fair enough. Anyone who's been to New York, you avoid any grate that is spewing that much air out of
Yeah.
from
It
underground into
seems
the air.
unsanitary.
Yeah, it's not good.
And they're like right next to Ab Bridge. I don't know if it was probably the Brooklyn Bridge. I don't know.
Sure,
I don't
let's
know
say
anything
it.
about New York.
Yeah.
I kind of take some pride in that, by the way, because New York is every movie. Everybody thinks New York is the dopest. I'm like, I don't know what that bridge that is, and I don't care. Okay. I can't tell the difference between the Chrysler Building and that other building that was really tall.
Empire State
Empire
Building.
State- throwback to Godzilla. But yeah, I enjoy the cheesiness of it. The plot holes, I don't think of them as important.
No. They're not at all.
So the first step up is like purely a love story about this kid who's a janitor serving time as serving community service and falls for a ballet girl. They make a hybrid dance. It's actually a pretty decent movie. Shouts to Channing Tatum and his ex-wife Jenna Dewan, formerly Tatum. Number 2, meh. Well, I'll hear about your guys' excuse with 2. But like 3 and 4 to me, just a blast. 4 takes place in Miami, and they're protesters.
There's a 4?
Oh, there's a 5, and there's a TV
This-
series on YouTube Red.
This felt so much like the end of a line. Like,
Wait,
Well-
are there characters that carry over? It felt
So-
like there was some in this
discount
movie.
Andrew Garfield? Is he carried over?
So in this one, Camille, the Allison Stoner, who's like, she's a little well known. She's in Cheaper by the Dozen, Camp Rock.
Let's not forget Mike's Super Short Show.
Hey, Mike Super, you're right. So
That's
she's
what I know her from.
Channing Tatum's little sister, but it's like a foster situation. So she's in the first one, a little in the second one, and then this is one where she's really a character. And then I think she comes. The 5th one is when they try and bring back a bunch of people from movies, and it's horrible. They pick the worst female lead, which is from Step Up 2, The Streets, The Streets. But yeah, I like 1, 3, and 4. I thoroughly enjoy, and like I know how bad they are, but I enjoy the dancing enough. I'm in enough on like the cheesy romance that like it's fun. I do remember again being paced and being a little bit more breezy, but yeah, I have a lot of fun watching it. And dancing is something that is so far from my capabilities. And also at this time I was watching So You Think You Can Dance a lot. And there are like 4 dancers from that show. Twitch was obviously in it originally. And then the guy in the bathroom battle was actually part of his prize of winning a season of So You Think You Can Dance was that cameo. Because Adam Shankman was a judge on So You Think You Can Dance and a producer on this. He's produced a bunch of them, and he's produced a bunch of musicals. So a lot of interconnections there. But yeah, I was just fascinated for a good 5-6 year period, just like enjoying watching people do something that I could never do.
Sure.
So that's my why I like it, I guess.
Yeah. No, those are.
what
I
we're
like
looking
watching
for.
YouTube for that.
Yeah. Well,
Just saying.
I like a narrative.
it's
Okay?
shorter.
You're the type of person who just picks out a 90-second to 7-minute clip of something you enjoy. I like a narrative. Sometimes it's hard to find a
As
narrative.
flimsy and as
When-
sparse as it may be.
So
You're looking for temporary pleasure, and I'm
big
looking
fan
at-
of pornos.
with a good script.
With a
yeah.
good script. None of this like 6
Absolutely.
minute stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Give me.
I
like,
want
a
something
given
I can
thing,
put a
yeah.
bookmark in that I can come back to and continue where I left off.
Yeah, I'm all about time codes. Tyler, it looked like you were preparing something.
Oh no, I do want to talk about a couple things in this movie.
Please do.
First of all, Moose is a way better protagonist in this, way more interesting protagonist in the movie than
I
I've
would
already
honestly
forgotten
say
the
a
other guy's
better
name.
actor than
Yes.
most everyone in this movie.
I mean, he looks like I at some point someone in the casting process looked at that guy and they're like, he's gonna be the next Michael Cera. Let's get him in this fucking movie. But man, the other guy, the filmmaker guy, woof.
Yeah.
And also, I love. There's a point in this movie because it's after what's her face is left and the dance girl Natalie.
I didn't know her name. I called her Lover Girl through most of my summaries, so I got you.
And like when he's like, Moose, I need you, man. You're my guy. I need you. And like he's like, well, I'm gonna be late for this thing, and like my relationship with my best friend is in the balance. And he's like, I fucking need you, man. And then they get there, and like he's like, thanks, man. Fucking see you later. I'm gonna do this whole mission on my own. Why did he need to go to that?
He really harmed his education unnecessarily several times, but he is the star of the second dance in the water in the Chinese place, which is the best one in my opinion. But yeah, and the way he also was like, you're such a hero, because he jumped through a fucking hot dog cart. He was like,
I mean, to be fair, he was completely derailed when he saw the shoes the guy was wearing. He's
Also,
clearly not ready.
They
for,
probably
like, the
could have
focus.
paid the rent if they would have bought less shoes. Like, they had Zoolander's orgy warehouse pimped out, but they can't pay the rent on it?
Zero money.
Oh, my.
And also just fucking LED lights for days.
Well, they got those on a like Christmas discount. You know, they bought those in January.
This is all I've been asking for Christmas for the last 5 years.
I feel like the main guy is an asshole. Like, he, on so many accounts, it's like, my favorite point of the movie where I just was like, oh, here we go, is when this guy just comes in. I'm like, I wonder what the plot of this movie is. And this guy's like, here's the plot of this movie. The bank is going to foreclose. I was like, oh, are you fucking kidding me? We're going to that route? And then, so this guy's literally like, he sees Moose on the street, and the first thing that comes in his head is, how can I use this kid to pay the rent for my giant fucking New York warehouse penthouse suite? And so, but then he like is just buttering him. I was like, man, you're so talented. You're one of my guys. Like, he's already like just grooming this kid.
That's why when I saw their living situation, I was like, he's fucking Fagin. He really is. This is an Oliver situation.
And then he just invites her to stay up after they dance one time. And then the betrayal, the brother who's like maybe the worst villainous actor.
Planet.
You know what those two have probably done is one's been the protagonist in a Hallmark Christmas movie and the other one's been the villain, and they're interchangeable. They're just good-looking tall white men. And in fact, I had that thought 5 minutes ago to make the joke, and then I looked up the main guy. He's in a movie called A Holiday Heist.
That has to.
That's all it says. There's no Wikipedia page. Otherwise, he's got about 6 TV films in a row with no other real credits to his name.
My jaw's hurting.
Yeah, that's not great. He is not great.
Let's go. Let's do some segments real quick. The first one, we'll go with the one you guys know of, so I don't spring the other ones on you, which I'm going to anyway. Studio notes.
Oh, I forgot my thing about studio notes.
You don't have to pre-think it.
I'm gonna fuck it up, like I did with the name. Oh shit!
What is a note that the studio gave or should have given, and you can't use it should have been shorter, because we did that with Godzilla.
Because honestly, I'd probably say that for most movies we watch. Like, it could have been like 20 minutes short.
Oh, almost every, even really good ones.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go first so that I don't get it taken because I'm bad at this. Okay, the studio note they should have given. No, the one they fucking forgot and they had to keep reminding themselves was, oh shit, this movie's supposed to be in 3D. What do we throw in this dance scene at the last minute? Which is always like like when he's popping. I forgot about that when they pop the bubbles. I'm like, why the fuck is this happening?
I didn't even think about that, and wow, that really puts that scene in context.
And
for
then
sure.
I'm like, that wasn't cool. That wasn't like a cool dance.
And
move.
right after that, the balloons going up into the what the.
And then after like every single I mean, obviously the Slurpee thing was really stupid too, but like that was like. It wasn't in the middle of like a dance where it was like the worst choreography ever for the sake of a 3D moment that wasn't even that cool to begin with. So yeah, it felt very much like they were like, oh yeah, shit. Sticky note, sticky studio note on our camera. Remember to put the 3D shots in.
Yeah.
Can we throw something at the camera here?
Yeah, I'm glad the studio gave the note to cut the character development early in the movie and just get right to the dancing because that gave us just that quick moment of the dad being like, "I'm glad you're going to be an engineer and you're done with this dancing crap."
Yeah, for shoes.
They skip some emotional steps in this. There's a few times when it's like, we're just gonna get there.
Yeah,
we don't have time.
Well, when it got to that, like when that first big dance thing happened, I was like, "Yeah, this is what this movie's going to be." Like at least they know.
Yeah.
That we're fucking here for the dancing. Give it to us.
They leaned into it.
Yeah.
The note that they should have given to me is let's have some consistency with who's in this crew, because there would be someone who'd be like a lead in the. I feel like those twin dudes were the only ones who were like consistently there throughout like the training montages, the performances, and like the backlash at the end when they lose people and whatnot. Like Twitch is in and out. He's a busy dude, I guess. They're like, we can't really get him all the time.
Yeah.
Like it made no sense who was around. And the main dude is barely in the second dance. They're just like, well, we have to show you.
Yeah.
But it's actually not that. It was high inconsistency
Well, there's
with who's in
fucking
the
Joan
Pirates.
Jett, who like is all of a sudden like front and center at the end of the movie.
Yeah. There's that other white chick, and she's at the very beginning in the documentary talking about why she cares about dance. And then at the end, she's like trying to be emotionally supportive. And it's like, where you been for an hour and a half, ho?
I also like when they all dispersed and then got back together, and then like, dude, Carlos is here. I was like, who the fuck is Carlos?
I know.
And I was like, oh, that guy.
That guy who like we saw walk away, and before that had maybe been in the background of Ashot.
Like,
And
I didn't realize that he was gone. I thought he
Carlos
was
from
just
the
leaving.
Magic
'cause
School Bus.
Everyone was leaving. Like,
Carlos.
he had the friend who was he was like he runs the business, and he was like I'm more like the first mate, and then he's gone most of the time, and then I don't think we see him dance.
He's like a shaman, dude. He just comes in to move the plot along at the beginning, and then to give like the whole "follow your heart" speech. And he's wise and great.
If you're going to be the CFO of a bohemian dance organization, you gotta like
you've got to have a second job.
also tell that stupid cracker to stop buying shoes and LED lights.
Also, the prize money at the end, how much was it? 100,000?
I wasn't even
Yeah.
listening.
And
Which
how
the
much?
first thing I could think about was like, man, after fucking taxes, that is not even going to cover your
Exact-
5 months of
yeah.
rent, dude.
After like contest tax or whatever the fuck that is,
Yeah.
then how much rent is for that place in fucking New York?
I know.
You're gonna pay like 2 months of rent, and then you're back to your same problem.
Within walking distance of NYU and Central Park, yeah.
Oh, dude. Also, yeah. Can we, now that that's brought up, can we talk about NYU and how majoring works? 'Cause
Yeah, let's talk about it.
You can double, but not
Can-
with an art and a science. That was the
is that
rule.
like really a thing at NYU?
No.
Because like for me, if I wanted to double major anything, I mean, I went to a shitty college, but if I wanted to double major anything, I just walked into an office and say, I want to double major.
There was a drop-down menu online.
Congratulations, you're double majoring. You're now this far behind.
I do wonder if Tisch, the School of the Arts there, which is pretty renowned, I don't know for dancing, for acting it sure is,
Yeah.
and filmmaking in general, which is, why didn't that guy just go to NYU? Why do you have to go to LA to some shitty school?
And also, why did he call them culture vultures?
Yeah.
That felt like a misuse of that term.
You're a sellout, okay?
I was like, you're already kind of that. I don't know.
Dude.
That's fucking weird.
Film and
His
TV
parents
is, like,
died, okay? He was very thoughtful.
That's right. I forgot.
I've heard rumors of the New York social elite, and I feel like either my understanding is exactly right on because of movies and TV, or it's way the fuck off.
I am just going to pretend that Gossip Girl is exactly how rich people in New York act, and I'm sticking to it. That
Where
should
high
still be our
school
next
teenagers
podcast.
wake up super early to have breakfast on the steps of the Met before they go to school.
Yes.
I need to know the real food that you'll find in a New York bodega, because otherwise I can't imagine doing a grab and go and sitting on those steps. I just can't do it. Maybe she's just a coffee person. The next segment, this is
We
a...
should just have a bonus episode where you just like narrate Gossip Girl for everyone.
would be
You
pretty
just
fun.
summarize 5 episodes at a time.
Next segment is deleted scenes. What's a deleted scene that could have helped this movie? What did they cut that needed to be there?
Let me think about this one.
Man, it's real hard to come up with anything. Because,
It was too long, but there are
The
also so
moose
many
sex
gaps.
scene.
With who? You mean Moose and a Moose?
That was a whole cut plot line they should have introduced, where Moose had a second suitor, because he did in the second one.
I thought you were going to say sexual
There was
awakening.
like this hot girl in the second one who he was interested in, and like she kind of like came around to see how cool of a dancer he was by the end, which made him a sexually appealing partner. So yeah, I think there could have been a whole nother love story included into this.
True, we don't have a love triangle unless you count Moose's actually as a love square between a woman, engineering, and dancing.
I'm upset that they cut all the rest of the Ice Cream Man's lines because like he was one of the more compelling characters
Yeah.
and had like a magic stereo in his ice cream van that like he was just an incredible
The
sound
whole
engineer.
block.
Yeah, he just kept turning it up. He's
Yeah,
like, well, you keep going.
He followed him
man.
around and actually stayed out of frame.
Yeah. That's commitment.
Dude,
and
yeah.
like I wish that they would have left the scene where he goes home to his nagging wife and a tiny baby who's just crying all the time, and for him to be like, I had a dream once. I wish that I had that scene was still in the movie, but
So,
I get it.
My
You gotta
deleted
keep it
scene's
under 2
actually
hours.
related. It's the little girl who was shouting at the ice cream man. Because she never got her ice cream, she then ate ice cream every day for the rest of her life and became obese and moved to Beaumont, Montana. And because of the dancers that ruined her body and her life, she
Oh, no.
cut
I know
out
exactly
dancing
where you're
from You're Never Allowed to Dance in Beaumont anymore because of her. She outlawed it. Next up, we're watching Julianne Hough in Footloose 2. The
There's a
sequel to the
Footloose
remake.
fucking 2 with
No.
Julianne Hough?
Well, there is a remake. Yeah.
I'd forgotten about that.
Yeah. It's
Justin, you got a deleted scene?
I don't know.
Don't feel pressured.
Man, I don't know. maybe
What
maybe
scene
it's,
would you have deleted?
this is more like I feel like, there's nothing that makes me feel shittier about myself than seeing children do something that is incredible. And so there's probably more deleted scenes of those kids just like tearing it up or doing something, or even just playing Dance Dance Revolution amazingly and making me feel terrible at that even. Like,
Oh, well, yeah, they could have. You could say they could have added a whole Dance Dance Revolution scene where there was a brief one, but it wasn't.
yeah,
fully
actually
realized.
do some DDR.
Yeah.
The idea that
Or maybe
dancers are
some
gonna
tap
put rock
dancing in
band
there,
their
too.
downtime instead of DDR.
Yeah,
is kinda
seriously.
fucking bullshit.
That's
There's no like tap dancing scene. I guess they dance with a garbage can on their foot at one point,
Yeah.
but
That
garbage
honestly
can
was
lid,
my
but-
favorite choreography in the whole movie, to be honest. I mean, that might be an unpopular opinion, but I feel like Step Up 2 had stronger choreography than this one. Consistently.
Yeah, now
Here
we're
we're
gonna
getting
get
into
it.
Let's go. Let's go.
Look, I'm not a dancer.
I will say
Uh,
this: no trampolines.
No,
what the fuck?
But there
Step Up.
was
No
pocket
roller
speakers when he ripped off his vest.
That's true. There were those.
Was that the bathroom
Yes,
dance
that was
fight?
like
Okay,
the
yeah, all right,
weirdest
that's
rape
right.
analogy I've ever
Yeah.
seen in my life. But yeah, the choreography though, honestly, like there was some like really good stuff. I think the twins are honestly the strongest of the choreography that is in this movie. But I mean, not that I had fun with the dancing stuff. I just was a little disappointed just because I just remember 2 being like every scene brought it 100%. Like that finale, I watched it with Katie at the end after we were done. We're like, let's go back and watch the real water scene. And
I said the real water scene.
but no, that scene I think was really well choreographed and really fun, except for the fact that Katie was really upset by this throughout the whole movie. But I was a little unnerved by. I'm like, man, these people are assholes. They're just ruining passerby's day for a bit. And I'm like, man, you're no better than someone like Logan Paul. Just like fuck off.
Oh. No, but really, if I was moving into my brownstone and 2 kids just started turning up some music like that and just started dancing around my couches and my paintings, my expensive things.
If they pick up your fucking
He
painting?
stole a hat from a guy and get into a cap,
very
too.
true.
But you're right in that was a very fun, creative way to do that. And it was like one of the only chances that little stoner got to dance.
I have to.
She's
You need to
famous for
stop
being
calling her
in,
that.
in Missy Elliott videos. Fun fact.
I need to. Hopefully, Gwen doesn't get mad at me for saying this, but I thought her comment during that dance scene where they're going through the neighborhood or whatever, and they jump on those bags and like all the styrofoam or whatever pops out. I thought they were just like small little bean bags or something. And Gwen's comment, which I think is super funny, she said those could have been full of needles, which I think I really like that. Just that look into what Gwen thinks of New York. I'm sorry, Gwen.
That is my least favorite. I've only ever seen Saw 2 of all the Saw movies.
Oh, God.
And at one point, someone jumps into a pit of syringes,
Yeah. Oh,
and it's
yeah.
the worst moment
Yeah,
of my
that's
life.
awful.
Oh,
I've
man.
thought about that scene
Quick
frequently.
sidebar about that. VH1 used to have, like, for a brief running moment, they had an award show for, like, horror movies
Oh yeah.
and, like, the Scream Awards or something
Yeah.
like that. And Best Mutilation was one of the categories, and that was on there. There's only
Was
one.
that teeth?
There was
Yeah.
only one other nomination. It was for the
Oh,
movie.
I know about teeth.
The other movie, Teeth, where it's about a vagina with teeth, where this guy gets his dick bit off, and then the dog eats it. And I'm pretty
Which part won the award?
I'm pretty sure Teeth won that award.
Well, no, I'm saying, was it the dog or was it the vagina?
Oh, it's the whole scene.
Oh, it was the dog gina. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
And the guy's like watching. It's heartbreaking.
Didn't he get it bitten off because he was raping her?
No, I think they were having consensual sex.
Oh, no!
I don't know.
I have
don't
not
know
seen the
about
movie.
Teeth, yeah.
I just know they showed the clips and the reaction from the crowd for that movie that no one had fucking seen. Told you who was going to win.
That's how good of a mutilation it was. It was like, no one saw this movie, but it's going to win.
Yeah.
If only they had kept around the Oscar for Best Mutilation. But they got rid of that when they got rid of Best Choreography, Best Ensemble, Best Stunt Cast, Best Uprising Star, all the ones that should be there. Oh, boy. The other new segment was going to be Crackpot Theories, but I think Tyler and I covered that with our deleted scenes.
Yeah.
So we're going to move on. Any other nitpicks or compliments you guys want to give this movie?
This movie does tell you that money matters because
There's definitely some
they
class
seriously
warfare.
win the final thing because of their production value alone.
Yeah.
And, I mean,
That's true. Yeah.
New York Yankees, Los Angeles Lakers, whatever you want to say, it fucking sucks.
Also, there are only 3 places that matter: London, New York, and LA. And London's in 3rd place, you dumb fuckers.
You wankers.
Oh, boy.
I did mention my accents last time, so there you go. My awful accent.
Yeah, I mean, I almost would have felt better about this movie if they had just cut the plot.
If Mitchell forced me to watch 40 straight minutes of dancing where there seemed to be some story that isn't there, I would be happier.
Well, I do. It's one of those things. Okay, we talked a little bit about Step Up 1. I think Step Up 1 is a totally serviceable, fine movie. I don't think it's like the greatest movie, but it's fine. It's an okay movie.
It's a
The story
teenage
is
movie,
interesting.
yeah, romantic movie.
I think that the thing that you can levy against like this movie that you can't against Step Up 1 is that the dance scenes actually are points of storytelling. I don't
They are in a tournament, Tyler.
I don't
you know, in
think-
number 4, it's about YouTube views. And then it turns into a protest
That's all I'm saying.
against
As I
land
don't-
killers.
I don't think you learn anything interesting about characters during the dancing. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Except
All
that
right,
scene
all
that
right.
I just talked about. Not that it
Yeah.
was a great
They fall in
example.
love. They make up.
That is maybe the one exception.
Yeah.
But for like
I know
as
totally
much
get what you're
dancing
saying.
is in this movie, and you look at like something like Step Up, where a large part of that movie is watching them rehearse and get better at
Yeah,
dancing.
yeah.
This movie's just about people who can fucking tear it up
Yeah.
all the time, no matter what. Like, there's no real conflict that way. It's just like, my only conflict is like deciding if I should do this or not. And it's like, I don't know. So I think that's like one of the things that about this movie. And I think, if we want to talk about movies that I feel like, well, again, maybe not the sequels as much, but like I think I couldn't help but think of the Pitch Perfect movies while watching this too, because these movies both feel like things that were also engineered to sell soundtracks, like to sell I don't know, like
That
to
wasn't
do
a
that,
thing
like,
by now, though.
No, not by now, but like I mean, I think about
Pitch
like
Perfect might be the most modern one where it was a huge part of it.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
like, and I actually wanted to ask you about that. If like the soundtracks for these movies, because back in like 2000, I mean, when the original Step Up
came out in this one came out in 2010.
Okay, I mean, I think they were probably waning by that point, but I do wonder, like,
I'm sure these did
what
better
that
than
was like for
most.
those.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't see much about it, but I will I don't know if you guys, I recognize the majority of the songs, and there are some fun things that they do with them, but I don't know if I was ever like, I'm going to go to Spotify and listen to
Yeah.
the soundtrack for this, but I'm sure that was an element. It's a multifaceted pitch when you're doing a movie like
Sure.
this.
Yeah.
But I like the movie. It's pretty. It's directed by John M. Chu. Nobody knows who the Chuster is.
The Chuster.
Definitely.
He did direct Step Up 2, Step Up 3, Justin Bieber, Never Say Never, Step Up 4, G.I. Joe Retaliation, Step Up. Oh, he did do. Oh no, he was just a producer on All In. He did Now You See Me 2, Crazy Rich Asians, and Ken Jeong, You Complete Me Ho. And then he's going to direct
which is
In the
stand-up
Heights,
special.
which I'm actually, that's the movie that got pushed back that I was probably the most excited to see. It's Lin-Manuel's first Broadway musical turned into a,
Was that supposed to be this summer?
yeah, it was going to be actually, I don't know if it was May or if it was like June, but yeah, that and Fast and Furious 9, rest in peace, are ones I have to wait till 2021 for. Screw you, COVID. Who is the non-Moose MVP of this movie?
Oh, jeez, that is a difficult question.
Can we give it to the twins?
That's fair. I
feel like
I'd be down with that.
I enjoy watching them. They're like the goofy, like just I don't know. They're weird looking dudes who can just shred when they're dancing. Is shred a dance word? I don't even know. I have no idea how to speak dance.
You were a kid in the '90s, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Shredding I think is reserved for skateboarding. Thrashing can be used for
Surfing.
skateboarding, surfing, or drumming.
Yeah.
Oh, shredding can also be guitar or skateboarding.
Right.
But dancing, I don't know.
Yeah. Cutting a rug.
Oh no!
But then, yeah, I got sorry. That got halfway in my mouth. And I was like, oh, that doesn't really.
Yeah, you guys have ruined this.
I was just cutting the other night.
I had so many guilty pleasures that I need you guys' opinion on, but thank you so much for watching this movie. I know two of you at least do not watch very many movies at all, and you spent 2 hours of your life watching this, or pretending to at least. By the way, the YouTube equivalent of these, there's a dance crew, or they were, called the Legion of Extraordinary Dancers, and that is like this in YouTube form, like 3-minute segments, much better.
Good
so
enough.
if you're like, oh, I want to admire that 10 years down the road, because I think you guys are danced out for a while. Check that out. Let's take a quick break and we'll come back with some recommendations and let you know what we are doing now that Guilty Pleasures are over. But first, Tyler, tell the people where they can reach us.
You can email us at rewatchersonthepod@gmail.com or follow us on Twitter and Instagram at @rewatcherspod.
Be right back. Welcome back to the Rewatchers on the Pod. This is our recommendation section where we can talk about what we've been watching and things going on currently in the entertainment world, which is on one hand really slow because there's nothing happening, and otherwise we kind of have some extra time to watch some things. So let's go ahead and start with Tyler Harris.
Okay, I have a few things. I went back and replayed a video game a couple weeks ago called Control, and I just love that game so much. From like a world building and writing perspective, it's basically the game just starts. You're a woman who is in the foyer of a very cement-looking office building, and you just proceed into this building and wacky things happen, and the architecture shifts, and it's a very like surreal story. I mean, I don't even think that the story of her stuff is particularly strong. It's at least very interesting, but most of it is basically you learn that this is a place that deals with strange happenings that are reported around the world, and has collected all these strange items that are then fucking with reality. And anyways, it's really great, and it came out last fall, I think, but I played it. This is my second time through, and it's amazing.
Is that what we named?
Oh, sorry.
No, it's not, because I wrote that way before I
Oh,
even
you
knew
had played it?
about Control.
Okay.
Yeah.
We
Anyways.
have an incomplete short film that may or may not be called Control, but unrelated.
That script is like 30 pages long now. I'll have you know. I have been working on that lately.
Wow.
Not that we're going to do anything with it, but I don't know. It was the thing.
Have you played the DLC?
I did.
Is
Yeah,
it
that's
good?
that's actually why I played it, is because I wanted to play that DLC. And since I'd played Control the first time, I got a new PC. And so I actually played through it on PC this time.
Wow.
And holy fuck, it looks so good. But yeah, the DLC is cool. The DLC opens up a whole new area, and it gives kind of this glimpse into the history of the oldest house, and like, which is what the building is called, and like the first people that were there and things that they were. So it's pretty fun.
Gosh, I love the lore of that game.
Yeah, it's a game where I think the first time through I spent just as much time reading like dossiers on random items as I did playing that game, because it's really good.
Yeah. I mean, I know you hate people saying this.
I already
But,
knew. I avoided saying it, but go ahead.
But I mean, I will say, it hopefully is a little different than what you normally hear. Like, it does have, like, if you... This actually is a hard thing. Let me explain what I'm about to say. If you're missing that flavor of Twin Peaks,
Yeah.
But there's a certain like not the full flavor. Like there's certain like bites of Twin Peaks flavor in this thing. But it's also kind of the same thing that like the X-Files shares with Twin Peaks, like the same crossovers there. That type of flavor. If you like that type of stuff, this is definitely up that alley.
If like the Black Lodge and Owl Cave are your favorite parts of Twin Peaks, this is
But obviously there's a whole other part of Twin Peaks that is nowhere near present in this game. But yeah, that is my favorite stuff of Twin Peaks. I do like all of it, but that is my favorite stuff. And so that really came at a time right after we finished Twin Peaks is when I think I played it.
Yeah, that's probably.
And I was like, okay, sweet. I can keep going in this world because David Lynch doesn't want to, apparently. Yeah, I also recommend it.
Yeah, the game's great. And then I just have a couple other recommendations. I watched an Amazon original movie this week called The Vast of Night, which is incredible. I really loved it. It's a seemingly very low budget sci-fi movie. I think the best way I can kind of describe the flavor is it's like if Steven Spielberg directed an episode of the original run of Twilight Zone. Like it's set in the 50s, but has this very like, it's also centered around younger people, not super young, but like high school age kids. And it is it's a really cool movie. Like tonally, it is one of my favorite things I've seen in a while. I don't want to talk too much about it because it's better to just go watch it. And it's really great. The other thing is I started a couple weeks ago watching a TV show called Farscape, which is a sci-fi show from the late 90s.
I can like picture the cover, but I don't actually know anything about it.
If you frequented a Blockbuster like in the early 2000s, you've definitely seen a shit ton of Farscape DVDs. It's a Brian Henson produced, so there's a lot of like prosthetic creatures and prosthetic features on characters. It is absolutely 100% a product of the early 2000s, with all of the cheese and stuff that comes with that. But man, I'm really, really loving it. I don't know if it's just come at like the perfect time to where I'm like, I need something that is very light, but engaging enough to like enjoy and watch. But I think I'm almost done with the first season. But I've loved it. It's really fun. If you're into like sci-fi like that, I mean,
like Stargate.
I would say it's probably closer to Stargate of like those type of things. Basically, the premise is an astronaut from Earth is studying how they can get to faster than light travel by using the Earth's gravitational pull to slingshot them around the planet. And while they're testing that, this radiation wave from the sun opens up this wormhole and he goes through it and finds himself in somewhere. Yeah.
Well, is it streaming?
It is on Amazon Prime.
Oh, okay, cool.
So all 4 seasons. I do think it got canceled early, and there was like a mini series that followed up Farscape to sort of tie up loose ends. From what I've gathered online, maybe not very well, but we'll see when we get there.
I mean, that's unheard of for a sci-fi television show. Come on.
But as of now, I'm really enjoying it, and it's weird because there's a weird bit of nostalgia I have with Farscape that I didn't know I'd have, because one of the main actresses in it, her name is Claudia Black, who has also done the voices for tons of video games I've played. She's Morrigan in Dragon Age and Tess Everest in Destiny 2, which like immediately.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah.
Like
she's in Uncharted.
Yeah, Chloe
yeah,
Fraser in Uncharted. But immediately when I heard her voice, I was like, "Why do I know that?" And then I looked it up. I was like, "Oh shit!" So it's like every time I hear her voice, there's like a bunch
credit
of
card out right now.
Yeah, exactly. I need to buy a
something.
dance that I can do with my friends in Destiny.
She's she's also in that one of Vin Diesel's best movies, Pitch Black.
She is in Pitch Black, yes. Also, yeah, but she's phenomenal.
I prefer the Chronicles of Riddick, but
Oh boy. You and 14-year-old me would have gotten along so well.
14-year-olds are okay. I'll just stop there. I'll go real quick. So I just want to report back because 2 weeks ago I said I was going to watch Avatar. I watched it all in like 5 days, and it was very good.
Oh, the animated,
the animated one. It also took me 5 days to watch the James Cameron movie.
Totally for different reasons. I will say this: enjoyed my time with Step Up 3 more than I did with Avatar.
Oh shit.
Fuck off.
But Avatar, really good. Again, like if you do have kids, like what a super dope show that an adult can be really into, and has it's not based on cliffhangers, but it has just enough of an adventure of the week along with a serialization. Like it is one of the perfect combinations of those things. I haven't started Korra yet. It's not on an easily accessible streamer for me, and I kind of felt like I binged that so fast I want to take a break. I did hate watch the M. Night Shyamalan movie. It's horrendous in every way, shape, or form.
Which wasn't that one of the main reasons you kind of
Yeah, I just wanted to.
That's amazing.
Don't most people
And I like The Village, okay?
Last Airbender not like Legend of Korra?
I like Korra.
I
You
think
like
there's
Korra?
a
Yeah.
rivalry within it, but I think there's also an overall appreciation of like, oh, these are two really dope
Yeah.
things.
Yeah.
But I definitely, because I was looking up Avatar stuff after I finished it, because there's enough to spoil. I didn't want to do too much deep research. That I kind of saw some of that, but I think it's like there is a little rivalry, and then most people appreciate both.
Sure.
Did you
try.
talk about
I got-
Afterlife, Tyler?
I got just real
Last
quick.
week?
No.
My
Go ahead.
daughter's name, May.
Oh,
Oh, I
yeah,
didn't
from
even...
That's
That's
like where I
awesome.
got her name. Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
that's a good name, and it's not overly characterized or anything.
Mm-hmm.
Afterlife is a show starring
Ricky Gervais.
Ricky Gervais, and it's only 6 episodes. He's put 2 seasons out, and it is just like this guy who's really depressed about his wife being dead, and it's impeccable. It's really good, and
Sounds like a good time.
yeah, it's good because of its.
That made it sound like I want my wife dead. No, I mean, no. I was trying to be like ironic.
Sorry, Katie, but it is weirdly enjoyable, and he, of course, pushes humor in ways other people don't. What else? I watched a show called This Way Up, and this is produced by Sharon Hogan, who was in Catastrophe. Is that?
Yeah.
And she's also in Game Night. That's probably what a lot of American people know her from. And there's only 6 episodes out, and it's another stand-up. She's Irish. It's another Irish stand-up female comedian, and it's Catastrophe, but it's her going through being a crappy life as a single woman in London. So it's kind of got this Fleabag / Catastrophe vibe, which sounds too good to be true. So like it really is a combination of those things, but and I love it, but it's not amazing. And those two things combined would be amazing.
Yeah.
So a ton of fun though, and again, it's only 6 episodes. I like that sensibility and that bit of humor. So it was kind of like going back to that.
What is that on?
It's on Hulu.
Hulu? Okay, cool. I'll check that out.
Fun fact about Hulu, I've done now 3 stars trials for movies that we've watched together. I did one through Amazon, one through Stars, and now one through Hulu. So I need to watch some Star stuff this week. The last thing I want to talk about is Run the Jewels came out with a new album.
Yeah, it is.
And I have not been listening to music very much the last couple of years, really, and I ran out of podcasts because I think with COVID and the protests and things, it's a tough time to put out things and know exactly what to say and how to say it, or to be of the time. And so this album is incredibly prevalent to the time, and the 11 songs went by so fast, and they do a ton of different things. I don't know anyone who, and I'm not going to pretend to be super into the rap scene or even what's big in music right now, but I don't know anyone else who sounds so interesting and original while also giving so many quality echoes of like what I enjoyed about hip hop and rap growing up, and appreciating the stuff that maybe came a little bit before me. Obviously, like they're speaking to oppression, police brutality, Black Lives Matter in this album, even though it was obviously written and recorded long before like the most recent things. And I just think they're insanely talented people, and it's like the first music I've listened to in a long time that's new and got me really excited about two artists doing super interesting original things. And it's just called, I guess you just look up Run the Jewels on Spotify, most of us do, but it's called RTJ4.
It's the one with the 2 fists on the cover.
Yeah. But these guys put everything out for free because they do enough work on the side and make money other ways. And then all their merch also they donate to charity. So like a really cool project. And I don't know much about these guys individually, but yeah, I haven't heard music in a while that got me that excited. I also had one quick question for you guys, just overall. HBO Max dropped last week. It's not available on Fire Stick or Roku, and I use a Roku TV. I do have a Chromecast, so I could cast it. They didn't drop with originals. They're very much depending on a library, and I've heard that they actually have an incredible like classic movie, like Criterion type of library that most people don't consider. I just wanted to know if any of you guys had watched a thing on it yet, because I haven't, and there's a couple things. I'm just getting all
Do they
head
have?
shakes.
Because I haven't, but I was wondering. Are like on HBO Go or HBO Now?
So HBO Now, was $15 a month, and this comes free with this. You get all of HBO plus like the entire Warner library, which I don't like the branding, but it's actually a great library of crap. And since I was already paying for HBO, I don't mind still
So
having
HBO
this.
Go still has all the stuff it had on it, though.
So HBO Go is just your mobile viewing if you have HBO subscription through cable. If you had HBO standalone, that was HBO Now.
Stream
Right.
all that
And you can
okay.
still do all that.
Because I was like, man, if you're moving all that over, fuck you.
No, they did make it confusing, and they did drop without a bunch of stuff that they hope to have. But Peacock's also coming next month, and I'm probably going to do that just because it has enough I like and soccer.
Now Peacock is free though, right?
Peacock has a free tier that's going to have about 75% of their material.
Okay.
And like all the next day of new NBC stuff, which for some people is still really important to like have next day viewing of whatever sitcom. And then they're going to have a $5 tier with ads and then a $10 tier without ads. And so for me, if I follow a Premier League team that's really small, so I don't pay for the sports gold, but now with the combination of those things, I will probably do it. And I also have 6 siblings. So I spend under $70 a month and have essentially every streaming service besides Showtime and Stars and DC, which I'm kind of hoping DC makes some stuff available on HBO Max. They did make Doom Patrol, but nothing else from their original library yet. So I was just curious because that's, coming up in streaming time. It's changing up a little bit after Apple kind of flopped, which I found I do have access to through a sibling, but nothing has made me want to watch it yet,
Bummer.
which is a little sad.
Yeah.
Anyway, that was too long. Go listen to Run the Jewels and watch This Way Up. Justin.
I can't remember if I've mentioned this before. I've been playing a little bit of, I say a little bit, but thinking about my hours in this fucking game, a little bit of Civ 6 recently. I really like it. I like the Civ games, but I've also got 35 hours in and I have not won a single game yet. So, yeah, I play because I enjoy those games, but they fucking piss me off too.
Are you playing vanilla 6 or do you have the Gathering Storm?
I
Rise
think
and
it's just the
Fall?
vanilla.
Okay.
I don't think I have any of the DLC. But I'm also playing on just like the default difficulty too. Like I'm not trying to. I guess I just suck at these games. I don't know.
I feel like the curve for 6 was way harsher than
5
it
was
for me for 5.
Yeah, because I feel like in 5 I was actually bumping the difficulty up pretty regularly.
Yeah.
But yeah. Anyways,
I feel the same way.
that's a good time. I've been playing some more Apex, which is also a good time. I really like that game a lot. Anytime a multiplayer game gives me a single button on the like loading screen to mute my team, that's a good thing. Like that makes me very happy. But the biggest recommendation, probably the thing I've put the most time into recently, I finally have been playing Spider-Man on the PS4.
Oh, hell yeah.
Finally, like I have not really been touching my PS4 for the last few months because it sounds like it's gonna blow up every time I turn it on. But I just turn the volume way up when I'm playing Spider-Man and just ignore the jet engine noise that's coming out of my TV center.
Like in Spider-Man, if you built a nice like paper cone around it, it could feel like the whooshing of the wind as you're flying through the city.
Exactly, yeah.
It's a 4D experience at that
Just have
point.
Tyr shoot silly string at you.
Me and May and Tyr both, they really enjoy watching me play this one. They consistently every day are asking, can we play Spider-Man today? Nice. And it usually ends up with them just running around in front of me spraying fake web while they're pretending to be Spider-Man. And just a side note, it made me super happy for Tyr. He, a couple days ago, maybe this is a week or so ago, but anyways, we were talking about Spider-Man, and Spider-Man to him is Miles. He doesn't think of Spider-Man as Peter Parker. He thinks of Spider-Man as Miles, which I thought was super cool. And, I mean, the Spider-Man game does some cool stuff with Peter Parker, Miles, and the story and everything. I think I'm about halfway through the game so far, and it's just a good time to just fly through New York in that game. So if you haven't played it yet, it's been out for a while, but if you haven't gotten to it, definitely check it out.
Yeah. They've got some good sales, I think, on that.
Yeah, and I imagine I would not be surprised like if this is one of those games that's going to be like cross-compatible with the PS5 and everything moving forward. So
that's the kind of the flagship game they've been going with to like tout the loading of the
really?
PS5. They're
Okay.
like, look how fast travel is in this game as opposed to sitting on a subway in PS4.
What is the PS5 gonna like? What has
That's a
changed
great
that's gonna be
question.
so worth it?
So one thing that is a big deal is that both the new Xbox and the PlayStation are going to be built. A big thing about them is that they're going to be running on SSDs instead of hard drives.
Oh, that's awesome, actually.
And some really cool stuff has been taking place with like the architecture of the actual hardware, because even for like PC games, developers have to develop their games with hard drives in mind, and so that changes the way the assets are loaded and the speed at which everything can happen. So something that's really exciting about the new console generation is the fact that they will be SSDs, and that's kind of the baseline moving forward, which I've been following this way too in detail, but I think Tim Sweeney, the CEO of Epic, I think, is that? Yeah. He said recently that the PlayStation 5 SSD is basically going to be like something that we've never seen before. Like, not necessarily the fastest thing that's ever happened, but the fact that this is what is being built is, in his opinion, pretty groundbreaking, which
Sony
is really
is taking
exciting.
the approach of like working smarter, not harder. Whereas Xbox is kind of the opposite. Xbox is like, theirs like, let's put as powerful stuff as we can and still make it $600. Whereas Sony's like, let's solve some problems. And so it's gonna be interesting to see how that plays out.
It always puzzled me how frustrated people were that those consoles were $500 when, for a great computer, even if you don't use it for gaming, you're probably paying at least $700. Like,
if you're getting a gaming PC, it's like $1,000 for just a decent
right?
computer.
Yeah, if you're just building up a decent one, that's I've always thought, especially if I did game, for the amount of time you spend on it. That's why, like, when people complain about the prices of phones, I'm like, I get it.
Yeah,
but also you use that all day, every day for most of us. So just think a console, especially if it's also your entertainment hub, is totally worth it. But yeah, hopefully with SSD, they are, there's a lot more memory in them, because that is the pain in the ass now. And
I mean, Call of Duty Warzone, I think, is like pushing like 200 gigs, I think.
Jeez.
I haven't opened Warzone in 2 weeks, and I'm
Yeah.
afraid to, because like I don't want 80 more gigs of Call of Duty on here.
But I think that's actually one of the things that is hopefully going to be optimized with this SSD. It's way more complicated than what I even know. Like, I'm getting the dumbed down version just reading articles online. But I think that kind of thing, it will help optimize the storage. And like, I'll have to see if I can find some articles and send it to you guys. But it sounds like hopefully that's not the case, where you need like a 5 terabyte SSD. Which,
that's what it seems like right now, like for people who are gaming. And it's going to have a physical disc option still, I assume, kind of for backwards. And I was just thinking, what happens to GameStop and the few other stores like it? Like, I'm shocked this generation has it, because right now, if you own something, you can own it essentially on the cloud. Like, it's kind of crazy to me that we still have physical discs.
I mean, GameStop basically is bankrupt right now anyways, so
Thank God for Funko Pops, though.
That's the thing. More people buy the random stuff from GameStop. I remember back in the day, you had to go to GameStop to get like the game guide for stuff, and now you can Google it. Reddit has everything.
Dude, yeah, I'm sure Prima Games hates the internet. Like,
should have kept up. Tyler, take us out. What are your recommendations?
Unfortunately, I didn't get to watch anything. Mine are just video games as well this week. I've got an anti-recommendation.
Oh, hell yeah.
So I guess this one's kind of a two-parter. It's both a recommendation for something old and better than what I'm about to tell you not to play. The very first Knights of the Old Republic is probably my favorite video game, top 5 favorite video games of all time. I love Star Wars. I love the universe of Star Wars, and nothing explores it and the themes of that anything near the Knights of the Old Republic series. If you like RPGs and you like Star Wars and you like a good narrative, fucking play this game if you haven't already, because it's so fucking good. And it, like, people have made claims about different Star Wars stories about, like, oh, they explored this and it's super edgy and all this stuff. And it's like, they really don't. It's like throwaway comments or anything like this. This game really delves deep into like the philosophy of the Jedi and its flaws, but without being like they're like, I don't know. I am very passionate about Star Wars, and I get upset when people are like, "Oh, the Jedi are pieces of shit." I'm like, no, they're just kind of, they have good intentions and are lost in a lot of ways. And I like the approach this game takes. It has some like harsh criticisms on it, and it feels very relevant to certain things in the real world. And it has a great plot twist that is a little more obvious now just because of more media that's come out since then. It's kind of an older game. But yeah, that game is fucking phenomenal. And the second one was made by someone else. The design of that game is not as great. The pacing is not as great, but the narrative is, once again, very interesting. The characters are very interesting. A lot of challenging ideas are being thrown around. Then, for some fucking stupid reason, Electronic Arts bought them and were like, hey, let's take this awesome single-player narrative and turn it into an MMO.
Did you play this?
Yes.
Oh, fuck, Tyler.
They're like, let's make an MMO out of this and not continue the story. So there was also a book that came out that was written by the guy who wrote the original game. I read that book, which is, unfortunately, I think there's some pressure on him to make it tie into the MMO. So the ending kind of sucks. It kind of is cliffhangery. But the story itself is, while not perfect, very interesting. I love what they do with those characters. And so I'm like, I need to know like what happens. And it's been bothering me for a long time. And I've read a lot of articles that's like, you can totally play this game single player all the way through. So it's free. Like the base game is free. So I got it and I started it. I'm like, hey, this is kind of fun. I got John Williams music playing while I'm running around with a lightsaber. And then I'm like, I'll just tell you where I'm at now. I'm at level 30. And I don't know any characters' names. I don't know what I can't tell you what the plot of this game is. And there's been no connections to the original characters at all that I've gotten to yet. I've heard at some point you get a ship and you have the crew like you do in the old games. But I haven't gotten there yet. And the combat's fine. It's different than the other one. Very MMO-y. Because it's an MMO, just those design choices kind of ruin. It's very lifeless world. It's huge. It feels like I'm in like a minute, like it feels like I went to like Toontown in Disneyland. There's like a huge oversized house with furniture that's too big for humans. And like, because they have to like accommodate if there's a whole bunch of people in one area, right? But there's no one. So I'm just running around. I'm like, this place is fucking huge. And I'm running for days. And the best and worst part about this is like, the immersion breaking of going on this mission, you're running through the woods, trying to save these people from these flesh-eating aliens. And here comes this dude who's made his character look like Emperor Palpatine, and he's riding a fucking tauntaun. And the person who's with him is a Twi'lek slave girl in a skimpy outfit, and they just come sprinting past you. And he's in and someone else is like in a hover chair. They go past you like, just pretend I didn't fucking see that. And, oh gosh, I hate this game. And, yeah, so.
Are you going to keep playing it?
Part of me is like, I gotta at least get to the ship part, you know? Like, see if there's anything there.
At first, I thought you said the shit part. It sounds
Whoa,
like
you're still looking for
No,
it.
but yeah, like, the combat's ridiculous because, once again, they have to accommodate if there's lots of people on the same mission. So enemies are so spread out and their awareness radius is so small. I can literally run through an entire mission without fighting a single bad guy because I just weave my way through. I'm like, okay, yeah, if I just cut over here by the wall, they don't see me, and I'm like just running through shit.
You're like Neo from the Matrix. You can just see all their vision cones. Just walk.
So yeah, it's a piece of shit, and I would recommend unless you love MMOs and you love Knights of the Old Republic. Go ahead, try it. Your character's voice in this one, which it was in the others, and the actors fucking terrible. The lines are horribly written. It's not, once again, not written by the same company, but a completely different team, different writers, and it definitely shows. So playing the original Knights of the Old Republic 1 and 2, you'll have a great time. Do not play this garbage.
When they inevitably adapt the first two, will you just not watch them? Would that just be too painful?
I think they're planning on it.
I think it's been like the holy grail of this is what we should do, but not screw it up since Disney bought it. But I just don't know. They just
barely made a huge deal about the High Empires. I can't remember.
Yeah, they have like a book group coming out, like in junior novels, regular novels. They're supposed to be really good. Their new direction they're heading with. It's the first time I've wanted to read a Star Wars book.
Yeah,
in
and so
10 years.
That's technically their era of this era of Star Wars. It's like 4,000 years before Episode 1.
Right.
And so yeah, I'm interested to see what they do with that, especially since it is like such like Star Wars fanboy sacred ground.
Yeah.
I mean, that's considering their track record right now with that group of people, it's like that's a dangerous place to go. But also it could be the thing that saves you with that fan base also. So it's like it's a high risk, high reward situation for them, I think. And I mean, I'm interested at this point to see where they go because, like,
As long as J.J. Abrams doesn't do it, you'll give it a shot.
Yeah, I don't want any of those people anywhere near it. But I mean, I'm at a point now where I feel like look, let's say I really loved bicycles. Okay?
Yeah.
And I love bicycles, and I'm riding my bike, and I fucking love bikes, man. Bikes are the shit. And someone else sees me enjoying the bike, and they're like, man, I wish I could get into biking. I really like scootering. And then they try biking, like, this is cool, but what if we just chop this shit up, and we just, like, put a board on it, and we put a handlebar on it, and we push it with our feet? And that's what Star Wars is now to these people, is that it's like, I see you loving that thing. I think it's okay, but what if we make it more like my thing? And that's what's frustrating about it, I think.
Well, hopefully with Dave Filoni being more involved, and generally The Mandalorian seemed to have better overall reception, despite some of the Adventure of the Week stuff, it was well made. Hopefully that bodes well that they're taking a huge break from movie making, and we'll see where it goes from there. Anyway,
I'll be interested to see what happens. But anyway,
I love engaging in Star Wars discussion because you have like this love-hate passion.
It's very conflicting, and I feel kind of alone because I hate every side of it.
It's a more toxic fan base that I'm like, I'm going to step back and just enjoy what I enjoy and not invest in it like I might invest in other things.
Yeah,
you might also love wrestling then.
Every time I see a tweet about Orange Cassidy, I'm like, oh, I got to go. I just watched what Orange Cassidy did that week. I'm the shittiest wrestling fan.
Dude,
no, that's a safe world to live in.
Yeah. That's one of those things that, like, I would be more of a passive fan of.
Yeah.
And I definitely, like, I'm like, oh, man, yeah, I gotta watch more of those videos when they come up. So, but anyway, the last thing I had, what was it? Oh, I played some Pokemon games that I haven't. I have only ever played Pokemon Red.
Okay.
And Blue, I guess, technically. I played a little bit of Blue. And that's the only Pokemon games I played up until this point in my life.
Okay.
So I was like, you know what? I'm going to start. So I played Gold a little bit, and then
that's my fucking gold standard for Pokemon games.
I started playing Gold, and then I had to keep Max busy one time, so I bought Let's Go Pikachu, and I haven't stopped playing Let's Go Pikachu.
Sure.
And
is that the one you yell at him through the microphone that you? Oh wait,
no. You're thinking of Hey You Pikachu.
Hey You Pikachu.
Which, man, if you have a Hey You Pikachu that you aren't using,
I've got a 64.
Please send it to us.
I have a Nintendo 64. I've got to find that.
You got to find a Hey You Pikachu.
Please get Pokemon
Holy
Snap
shit.
also, because that was a banger.
I would watch Tier stream Hey You Pikachu for fucking hours.
Okay, so those games, like, always let you name yourself, right?
And all your Pokemon.
Yeah, I named my character Vic after Michael Vick.
So every time
I've got 6 Growlithe, and that's fucking it. If they can't get the job done,
Oh shit! Why did I think of that? There's a mission there where the guy makes you catch 5 Growlithe. So I do have 5 of them. I just need to catch one more. But yeah, for those who don't know, Michael Vick's an NFL football player who got in trouble for dogfighting, which I thought was just. I was really proud of myself for naming my character Vic, because it only allows like 4 or 5 characters. But yeah, man.
My go-to is always just, I think is everyone's like, but.
But you always name like your antagonist butt. And so I was with Max, and Let's Go Pikachu is a remake of the original Red and Blue. So they introduced a character who I thought was supposed to be that character.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, Max, we got to name this guy like something we hate because that's the joke. And so I'm like, what's something? He's like, Pickles. And I'm like, all right. So we named this guy Pickles. I'm like, what an idiot. And this guy is like the most wholesome, nice guy in this game.
That's this generation of Pokemon games. Yeah, they've really turned the rival thing on its head.
And he's also he's still an asshole, but he's also like, hey, you fucking suck. Oh, here's some free stuff. Goes up. So it's a trip, man. And I fucking love it. I'm like, oh, I'll just play like a little bit while I'm waiting for like my food to cook. My food is fucking frozen by the time I'm done playing and remember that I'm making food. And yeah, man, it is great. And I forgot how much fun just Pokemon is in general.
It takes patience. Like I think I only played Yellow, Red, and Silver. And I had friends who played it like into the next generations, but Stop Before Moon or whatever shit. Black 2, whatever. And so
yeah.
One time, my mom confiscated a DS from a kid she works at my high school, and she's like, no one claimed it for 6 months. Do you want it? And I was like, yeah. And so I'm super impatient, so I like beat the game. I do a lot of the side quests and stuff, but you kind of have to spend time really developing your Pokemon. I was just like, I'm just going to focus on the 6 that I want when I get them, and then I get to the final 4, and I'm just getting my ass kicked every time because I didn't spend enough time. And then I was like, I don't have the patience, and there's not these side quests where I can help get them experience points. I have to just go fight shit in grass. Nothing is more boring than trouncing around grass and having to beat the shit out of 50,000 Caterpies.
I'm pretty sure you watched Tyler play 10 minutes of Death Stranding at one point. I have an argument to make.
Dude, do you guys have to have patience with that with most video games, or you just kind of have to put in some time to make things happen to get where you need to be?
Yeah, there's been an evolution of that. Like that has
We could talk about
fallen off
Destiny,
as
like
yeah.
I mean-
But well, and it's funny because like there are games that has become the game.
Yeah.
But in some cases, that's still fun. Like I really enjoy grinding stuff in Destiny sometimes.
Yeah,
But
it makes more sense. I mean, I played Destiny 1 quite a bit, and then of course I played a lot of first-person shooters. It makes a lot more sense to do things that are new and enjoyable. Like they seem to always be growing those games, and I love doing that with Pokemon as a kid. I think when I went back to it, and they had some really good emulators on Android as well.
Yeah.
So before I had the DS, I went back and like played Yellow again, and it was fun. But it just got to the point where I was like, I want to be able to fly to Vermilion whenever the hell I want.
Sure.
Like I want the Goldenrod so I can pull out the Gyarados right now. But anyway, Pokemon games, like along with like Mario Kart, my favorite thing that
I'm pretty
did as a
sure
kid.
I'm pretty sure that my friendship with Tyler Harris started because of Pokemon. I don't know if you remember this,
No,
but
I don't.
So 3rd grade, you would bring your Game Boy to school occasionally,
I was cool.
and I managed.
Next level. He had the semi-clear purple Game Boy Color.
No, I do want to
This is
preface this.
pre-SP.
That's what I had.
The Game Boy, I got the Game Boy. Getting the Game Boy was how I knew that I could be a cool kid because prior to that, I was a Game Gear kid. I had the Sega Game Gear.
no.
With
Your
the
parents spent a fortune on
rechargeable-
batteries.
Yeah, well, no, I got the rechargeable battery pack, but I did play probably hundreds of hours of FIFA International Soccer where I just turned the enemy team down to like 1 difficulty and ran like 45-minute halves, just like 98 to nothing. Just fucked people up. Anyway, sorry.
I just have this memory of like probably over the course of 1 or 2 weeks, basically asking you every single day, like, "Hey, can I play your Game Boy?" And I like the most prominent memory that I have is the batteries were dead, and so I
lazy ass.
didn't really know what was going on.
I had rechargeable batteries on my Game Gear. I forgot to
Okay.
change.
Basically, I would like. I probably fucked up your game, like thinking about this, but like I would just basically start a new game every time you'd let me play, and just play until the Game Boy died, and then it would reset because the batteries had like. You could turn it off, turn it back on, and get like another minute out of them. And I just did that for like a week, or I don't even know, maybe a couple days. And I'm pretty sure that's how I got to know you in 3rd grade.
That's hilarious. That's amazing. Yeah, well, that's funny because I also have a memory of you that you don't seem to remember is that you had a Sting t-shirt, like a wrestling t-shirt that I have always associated with you, and I feel like I've brought up multiple times and you never remember it. I'm like, that's crazy because that's the only reason little me knew who Sting was because Justin had a t-shirt.
Because
But
of me.
anyways.
Wow. Was it the red NWO Sting shirt?
Yeah, I believe so.
Oh, man. This is bringing back memories. I mean, I've talked about how much I love Sting on
I know, yeah.
this podcast before. Yeah.
Anyways,
Cool.
that's amazing.
Well-
I don't remember that,
Yeah.
but yeah.
I think our recommendations end up being longer than our step-up examination, but if you need any step-up advice, hit me up anytime. You should watch it in order 1, 2, 3, 4, skip 5 in the TV series. I'm glad we got through this whole podcast without hearing your stupid Step Up 2 story again.
That'll be a bonus episode that you can give us $10.
There was this
to
one
listen to.
time
Oh boy.
It was Valentine's Day.
Oh no.
I didn't have anybody to go with.
Go take our recommendations, play some Pokemons, and
Oh, Grandpa.
next week,
Pokemans.
that's right.
Go Pokemon.
Next week, we're going to start a new series called The Unsung Hero, where we're going to talk about people kind of on the other side. We're not even going to really talk about dead people. We're just going to use them to pick movies. But we're going to start with SLC Punk. And if you want to watch it, you can watch it on Pluto TV. It's a free streaming service. It will have commercials, but it's free. And so SLC Punk, kind of an indie movie that's still fairly well known. We're excited to watch it, and from there we'll kind of let you know how we're gonna pick what we're watching going forward. But thanks for dancing with us tonight. I've been Mitchell Marshall here with
Tyler McKinley.
Quick Step Quincy.
Oh fuck.
Holla.
Justin Hammer, the Carpenter.
Bye.